Hello again, I'm Nolan. And I'm also Nolan. Welcome back to Does It Science, the internet's very own fun-filled frolic through fields of frenetic fact-checking. Today's topic is astrology. That's better, I guess. Roll the intro. Full disclosure, I'm a Leo. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about why that doesn't fucking matter. So, let's go over the basics. You, like everyone else ever, were born at a specific place at a specific time on a specific day. And, due to the rotation of the Earth, the relative position of the stars and planets in our night sky changes from moment to moment. Side note, how stupid do you have to be to believe in astrology and a flat Earth? Let me know in the comments below. But I digress. So, our ancient ancestors saw these shapes moving in the night sky, and over time, stories and personalities were assigned to them. But what does this have to do with science, or you? Good question. To be fair, astrology and astronomy were once one discipline, and we owe a lot of our knowledge about the movement of stars and planets to those old astrologers, who also happened to genuinely believe that that was literally Orion's belt in the night sky. What does any of that have to do with science as the stringent discipline it's become? Another great question. And since 23% of the American population still reads their horoscope, let's go ahead and nail that last arrow into Achilles' heel. So, perhaps now would be a good time to define what we mean by science. What criteria are we hoping to meet, and what is the defining quality of something that does science and something that does not science? Here are 5 things to look for when you're trying to determine the science to bullshit ratio when you're presented with new information. Of course, one can be much more thorough in their skepticism, and should, but this is a good place to start if you find yourself being caught up by the latest fads that turn out to be unsubstantial. Number 1. Falsifiability. To be falsifiable means that there must exist some state of affairs which, if it were true, would require that the theory is false. The point of science isn't to prove your hypothesis correct. The point is to prove every hypothesis wrong, and if any one is left standing, then it is the most likely to be correct. Furthermore, a theory should make clear, unambiguous, and bold statements that can be compared empirically against reality. Number 2. Results must be reproducible. This is where the review process really comes into play. For whatever intent, often harmless, but certainly not always, researchers fail to take into account any number of variables that might have skewed the results in one way or another. If their initial results can't be replicated, then the hypothesis is promptly discarded. Number 3. Consistency. Looking at biology for a second, in order to disprove evolution by natural selection, you would also have to disprove everything we currently know and redefine, with better evidence than we have now, the entire fields of biology, genetics, chemistry, paleontology, anthropology, molecular biology. You get my point, I hope. Scientific discovery doesn't happen in a vacuum, and new information in one field has a ripple effect into others. Number 4. Control. Perhaps one of the most important things to check for as you science is whether or not your experiment has any effect at all. This is what a control is used for, as a part of the experiment that is not being tested and is being used for comparison. Placebos are a form of control. Number 5. Naturalistic explanations for naturalistic phenomena. This is pretty self-explanatory. I would love to put an end to the pointless bickerings about gods and ghosts and souls and whatever Deepak Chopra is on about, but science can't answer those questions, because they can't be explained away logically or naturalistically, by their very nature. So there you have it, just a few basic standards for your science to meet. So now on to the main event. How does astrology do? Is it falsifiable? Well, no, not really. The predictions are so vague. What exactly is a failed prediction in astrology? Remember that a theory should make clear, unambiguous, and bold statements that can be compared empirically against reality. The more clear, unambiguous, and bold astrological statements are, the weaker they become. Are the results reproducible? What results? But seriously, no. Even if you have 2 people or more with the exact same chart, it's naive to think that they would have identical or even very similar life experience to one another. What is true for one person is not true for everyone else, no matter how many coincidences in their birth they may share. Is it consistent with other fields? Not at all. There isn't anything in our astronomical knowledge to infer any kind of force, be it gravitational, magnetic, or ethereal, from the stars or planets, that would have such a profound and oddly specific effect on our daily lives. Is there ever a control in astrological experiments? As much as there are, they aren't very rigid. The more they tighten the controls, the more the predictions fail to stand up to scientific scrutiny, and they appear to be no more than random chance. Does it explain natural phenomena by natural methods? Well, it might claim to. But then again, what natural force from Jupiter is affecting people born in March and making them hate Mondays? Yes, I know there are very strict rules regarding sun signs and moon signs and rising houses and whether or not you've fed your Eevee enough. I get it. The problem is, none of that matters. At no level is a natural explanation for the supposed phenomena ever asserted, let alone tested. But I think astrophysicist Sean Carroll said it best when he said, "There's no force of nature that could make astrology work. The position of Saturn in the sky on the day you were born does have an influence on things here on Earth. It has an electromagnetic field and a gravitational field, and it's much smaller than the electromagnetic field and the gravitational field of the nurse standing next to you when you were born. Could there be a new force that has not yet been discovered by physicists that does astrology? No, there can't. We would have found it by now, and we haven't." Thank you for watching Does It Science. Be sure to like and subscribe and head on over to IndieCarnival.com to get exclusive content. I've been your host and also Nolan. Be sure to have a good night, and may the stars be ever irrelevant in your daily lives.